You're learning what you walked into that marriage with expecting. There's so many unsaid expectations.
For me, it was just a heart posture. I'm not going to walk in the room and go, this isn't possible, because it is.
You are not going to change your spouse. God made that person unique. God made Jill unique.
He started saying, honey, I'm literally your biggest fan. Like I'm your best friend. Hello, and thank you for joining Fortitude Podcast. My name is Heather, and I am the host, and I am here with my incredible husband, Amos, who is the co-host. And today in the studio, we have Paul and Jill TenHaken with us. Thank you for joining.
Our pleasure.
Pleasure. We are excited about this part of this project. You tuned in last time, hopefully, and you heard Paul as a leader. Paul is a man of God, and lots of wonderful nuggets in that episode. And today we're going to focus more in Paul and Jill as husband and wife. And so
I don't know.
Where do you want to start?
Have we ever done this? Like, it's the first.
Maybe.
No one ever wants to talk to you.
Jill, I do.
That's actually not true.
No, I mean this in the nicest way. Like, no one's ever talked to us about being a couple.
Yeah.
Did we make the obituary?
That's true.
It's 42 minutes. It's
You're not
45.
in the obituary. Talks about my obituary.
I'll come now.
Yeah.
I'll come.
She's in the obituary.
I love it though. There's a few good souls that will say, when they see me at an event, they'll say, oh, hi, Jill. How are you? And who's this you brought with you?
That's ours and ours. Usually it's, hi, Amos, where's your wife?
Yeah, all right. Mm-hmm. They got it right.
Well, since I had first met you, I can remember the moment. And I think I thought you were married to another friend of ours. And you're like, no, I'm Paul's wife. And I was like, oh, you look just like someone else. And I'm like, well, way to go and stick my foot in my mouth.
Manga from Boy Meets World.
No. I get that. I look like other people all the time, actually. I don't know if it's just the common round face. I'm not sure. Right.
Just blonde and cute. You're just blonde and cute. This is for real.
I don't know. I get that all the time. Like, oh, you remind me of so-and-so.
So, Paul, first time you met Jill.
Just Fox City.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. There we go.
Back.
I said, hey, you
Don't. The things he says, I'm like, it's a good thing you didn't say that.
So good. We are not editing anything, so be careful.
You're saying Google because you're everything I'm looking for. Hey, there you go. I don't think Google was. I think Google was up yet.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, the funniest thing is I didn't actually see him. So, you know, he was working at a sporting goods store in Sioux Center, Iowa. And I'm from Northwest Iowa, so I was home shopping. And I came in there and I ran into a gal I went to went to Bible camp with as a kid. Okay. And I ran into her and we were talking and then I left. But when I walked in, apparently Paul said something to her. Does this sound like Paul? He goes, oh, I got this one. Oh, as I came in. And he went, can I have one thing? And I didn't even look at him. You know how when you're looking through the racks and you're like, someone asked, can I help you? And you're like, I'm good, thanks. You know, how was you? She
totally disrespected.
Shot to the ego.
Just, yeah.
How'd you recover?
Well, I tracked her down, called her out of the blue. I said, hey, you were in my store a while back. I mean, I'm a stalker. I thought you were pretty.
Right.
This was 98, 7. This was before these lazy Gen Zers can just look stuff up online.
Yeah, he had to do some research.
Find a landline, call her. I'm like, hey, you were in my store. You want a one-way ticket to paradise? And she said, yeah. I took her to Olive Garden and the rest is history.
The first place he took me was Olive Garden. And I was like, what kind of Gina was Olive Garden?
Dude, it's until I wrote over magic Gina around me. Like, oh. Listen, she fell in the breadsticks and it was over.
Yes, that was.
Yeah.
Look at here we are. How many years later?
Olive Garden since.
I know. I don't know why I love that place.
I do love it. So 28. We've been married for 26 years. Yeah, you're married in 99.
Did it just start out just fantastic? Or tell us some lessons y'all learned in the very beginning.
Lessons.
I think marriage definitely has gotten easier, and we've gotten closer.
Oh, us. I thought you meant marriage.
For us,
okay.
the longer we've been married. You know, we just really, you really get used to one another.
Mhm.
I think our marriage is probably stronger now than it's ever been.
Yeah.
I can't think we rarely fight or argue.
I mean, you do stupid stuff, but I don't get real mad.
But we just don't. I mean, early on we would argue a lot, and honestly, my fault. I mean, I'm being totally serious. I just had to learn how to be married. I mean, I got married young. I was 21, and it's not in our genetics. I just had to learn how to live with someone else, and but now we just have such a great marriage. I mean, she's my best friend, and this job is so hard, and she's just my sounding board, and she understands how much stress it is, and she's just such a great supporter in it. And I think this job has really drawn us closer. It's brought our faith closer, and so I'd say we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
You said you two used to fight a lot early in the days.
But we don't need to accentuate a lot.
So I mean, it is. I won't say a lot, but it's just like little things. You argue like why didn't you unload the dishwasher, or why just the
Real important things like that.
stupid stuff you fight about.
That everybody does.
Like dumb stuff that you grow as you get older. You're like, this stuff is so dumb. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But-
Well, and you're learning what you walked into that marriage with expecting.
Yep.
I found like there were so many unsaid expectations. Like I remember having the conversation. We both came home from work. It was like 5 o'clock, and I remember thinking, and asking him like, so when we both come home at 5 o'clock, what are your expectations? Like that I'm gonna be cooking?
Yeah, pot roast.
Yeah. Give him some tater, lady.
Where's my pot roast? Daddy's hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, I'll give you a pot roast right in the face, there, big boy.
Yeah.
Well, how did you learn to get around that stuff? Like, what advice can you give our listeners? Because we do a lot of couple stuff with some younger couples, and that's the number one thing we'll see.
I would say just
like
voicing some of those subliminal or just internal thoughts that you have that you didn't even realize you had. Like, I don't think Paul even was conscious that he had those expectations, and not that he did, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did a little bit, just because that's how he was raised.
I was raised in a house where like my mom didn't work, and so Dad comes home, cracks a Miller Lite, waits for dinner to be on the table. Wheel of Fortune's on. Mom serves the meal, cleans up, like his underwear's ironed. Like it's like. And so you kind of have this mentality of what a wife is. Yeah. And she's a modern, hard-charging working woman. And so like you had to adjust your expectations to like, okay, this is going to be a different type of household that we're going to grow up in. Yeah. And what my advice to young couples and anybody who's going through marital troubles and arguments is always this, is you are not going to change your spouse. Like God made that person unique. God made Jill unique. She does not like to get up early. She takes a lot of naps.
I'm right there with you.
She takes a lot of naps.
Oh, right there with you.
And so sometimes if you sit annoying me, I'm like, why are you freaking sleeping again? Like, we got stuff to do.
This doesn't just happen, Paul. Okay.
Paul, can I just, you and me,
We're mad there and realize that, right? Listen, this is, God made her unique. Like, this is just,
Well, same thing. I mean, if the things that drive me the most crazy about Paul, like mad, are the things that I love about him the most too. It's like so weird how those things, like why I love him, are also the reasons that will just drive me mad. So I just have to remind myself that
huge biceps, for instance.
Yes, naturally.
Drives her crazy. It's like, oh, it makes her mad. Can you look at it?
no.
But you got to try.
So
Honestly, though, you have to stop trying to change your spouse.
Yeah.
It's the number one thing. When that light bulb clicked, like, I'm not going to change her, and I don't want her to change me either. I am who I am. Now, that doesn't mean there's things I can do differently to because I love her, and she does not like that I do this. Because I love her, I'm going to change some behaviors in myself because I want to honor her and respect her. But I'm not going to change who God made me to be, and I'm not going to expect her to change who God made her to be.
Yeah. I read this book, or this concept of extreme responsibility. If you roll back a moment where you're at as a couple, you can always find something that you did in the past that led or is a contributor to this moment. And if you can find that one thing, then you can change that one thing, but you've got to take responsibility for it. Like us as leaders in the household, we find that thing that we're responsible for, and then we can change it. And that's great. There's great power in that, isn't there? Have you heard of that concept, extreme responsibility? Roll it back to the thing that where you contributed to this moment.
Oh yeah, that's
And you can change it.
Yeah, and we're obviously both people of faith, and we, unfortunately, in today's society, it's considered toxic masculinity or whatever you want to call it when the man plays a superior role in the household. Well, it's not. That's a biblical position. The man is the head of the household. I'm the head of our household. Okay, and that is not a position that I shy away from. That's not, that doesn't lessen her at all. But we have a role to lead our house, to lead my wife, to lead my children, right? To set an example of godliness and faithfulness and provide for them. Now, that doesn't mean, Jill, where's my pot roast at 5? And you need to do the laundry. And that's not what that means. And unfortunately, that's how that gets twisted in today's society. And men get demasculized because we're supposed to just like submit, and we're supposed to be these real kind of like,
we're equal.
wusses.
Yeah.
And in a kind of a feminist movement. And I just don't think that's not scriptural.
Yeah.
So, and women play their own role in the house that men can't play as well in our household.
Yeah.
And so we both subscribe to that. We both have our own roles that we play. We both understand that, and it's made our marriage really, really strong.
Yeah.
And there's definitely things that I look to Paul to lead in certain areas.
Can you share a couple?
I mean, even when it comes to our kids' faith, or we're going to church, where I don't want that to be just one person that's making that happen in our household.
Like the giving and things like that. Like I kind of am the lead on a lot of our giving, and our tithing, and pulling our kids into that.
Which I feel like your family did such a good job of raising you to be good tithers.
Oh,
that's something that doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
You can't just assume a kid's just going to know how to even do that.
This is so near and dear to our hearts. Our hearts. Is it okay if we unpack this a little bit more?
Sure.
This is so good, because it really is. It can get backwards, right? So, Joe, when Paul says, "I am the leader of the house," this is biblical. How does that make you feel? Does it put you at ease?
It just makes me proud, because I know he can't do it without me.
Sure.
So it doesn't take the team out of it.
It's just like when a quarterback says, "I'm the quarterback of this team. I'm the captain of the team."
Yeah.
But the quarterback and the team captain can do nothing without the other people on the team.
Yeah.
So you got to have a leader,
Right.
and I'm the leader of our house, but this house is nothing without my wife and my kids and the Lord at the middle of it all. And so we set a tone, and we set a spiritual leadership that, we are biblically told that we are responsible for.
Yeah. So when the quarterback steps up and starts to be the quarterback, they're going to make a lot of bad calls. Is that right?
I mean,
So a couple
periodically, there's a couple.
And there's a list. I got a list a mile long of bad calls that I made. I'm so grateful that Heather always was she was on my team.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got this.
Yeah.
And
Which
so
is harder to do the older they get, because they start to pick up on your size or your
Told you so's.
the older they get, they're like, they pick up on that when you're like, I don't know if I agree with that, but okay,
Yeah.
They get smarter. So absolutely. You don't want to degrade or go against, what we want to do together as parents. You don't want to belittle each other. Like if I said something, for Paul to belittle me in front of the kids.
Stupid. What a stupid idea.
Right.
And sometimes
And like, we're both guilty of that. I'm not saying we're perfect because I know I'll do that and I'll catch myself and I'm like,
she does have some dumb ideas. I mean, I'm done.
But good company.
Here's another example. Like, you as the head of the household, as the man, you need to physically show affection to your wife in front of your kids.
Yeah.
My kids need to see me showing affection to my wife because I need to model for them what they should be looking for in a spouse and how a man should. I have 2 daughters, and they need to know what a godly man should look like and what the characteristics they should be looking for in a man, in the way I treat her, in the way I hug her, in the way I hold the door for her, touch the small of her back.
Yeah.
I mean, all the things that I expect from their future spouses. And for my son to see, this is how you treat a woman, right? And this is how you treat a lady. And so that's not the lady's responsibility, to do that in a marriage. That's the man's responsibility to model how to treat the spouse in the proper way. So
Were you raised?
good job of that.
Were you raised in a household also that was faith, center of faith?
Yes. Yeah.
And so you both come from that, which the modeling of what you're talking about is like it's in you because you saw it. It was modeled to you. There are a lot of couples who that is not, coming from a lot of brokenness or coming from a mom who is very dominant or very loud and demeaning and that can spill over into these beautiful little kiddos and they just don't know any better, and then it goes on differently in the households, and we're seeing a lot of that. Fortitude Ministries is bringing a Women's Regional Faith Summit to Sioux Falls on May 8th. Please make sure you get your tickets. Grab your girlfriends, grab your mom, your grandma, even your daughters, and bring them to the Ransom Church in Sioux Falls on May 8th, and we will see you there for food, for fellowship, for speakers, and inspiration. For tickets, please go to Fortitude's Instagram or Facebook page, and you will find a link available to purchase your tickets. So what I hear you talking about is oneness, which is what biblically it talks about, oneness and how to love each other well. And that is something we've had, like it's been a lot of self-reflection. It's been a lot of tears. It's been a lot of just trying to navigate and figure it out. And so what would you say to the couples that didn't have the upbringing where it was modeled to them? Like, what would you say if things are not currently working in your marriage? Can you give them a little bit of your TenHaken wisdom and advice on that?
Advice to the wife?
To just the couple in general.
I'd say just to look for those role models, right? I mean, we all can pick them out, those couples that, or families that are operating in a respectful manner.
Yeah.
Of course, there's always things behind the scenes nobody knows, but I'd say just look for role models that you're like, yeah, and ask. I see, I'd like to maybe have that discussion with you even further of how can I model this same behavior?
Yeah, I'm so bullish on mentoring. It's kind of been my jam over 8 years as mayor. And if a couple came up to us and said, would you be willing to have dinner with us or like have a Bible study with us once a quarter, or we just think you're a neat couple and we think we could learn from you? Like, how honored would we be?
Yeah.
Like, we would be like, of course.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
You think we have our poop in a group and you want to learn from us?
Yes.
Like, so ask.
Yes.
So it's learning, if you haven't had a role model, it's just like if you were trying to learn an athletic skill, you got to find a coach. Okay. You got to find someone to teach you. And if it wasn't modeled for you at home, that's okay. But then find someone who's willing to pour into you. And that may seem awkward, but I tell you, people want to, and you find that in a church, and so a lot of this goes back, find a church home and find a couple in that church, maybe ask the pastor, hey, do you know a couple in this church who'd be willing to mentor us in our marriage? And I bet that pastor would give you 4 couples that would say, oh, the Joneses would be perfect for this,
Yeah.
And so don't be afraid to ask.
That's a great idea.
You've had someone do that to you before, haven't you? It's like I'm having a memory come up where someone actually walked up to you and asked you to be their mentor.
Individually.
Yeah. Yeah, someone.
Not for our marriage. People must think our marriage is a wreck. So they'll ask us about
Well, we're here to show them differently today. Yeah, when people ask, that is the people that I surround myself with and have in my life. There's some of them I'm like, hey, I want to be your friend. I think the world of you, and you have a lot of qualities and characters that I admire. And sure enough, like they're 20, 30 years older than I am, and I've learned so much.
Yeah.
It's that simple humility of like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah. Well, when you're talking about women, you never talk about having that outlet, even specifically for women, is through the different stages of motherhood. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in a stage of, next things for our kids, and they're now getting older and they don't need us as much.
Mm-hmm. Everybody has something to give, and everyone has a story. And so how you navigate that and go about it, like even when I'm at Costco and I see a mom with 6 kids hanging on the cart, I just take a deep breath and think, oh, and I look at them straight in the eye and I'm like, Mama, you're doing good.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing good. I know that this is a hard stage, but you just need someone to say, like, you're doing good. And then the old couple next to me has salmon and a bottle of wine in their cart. And I'm like, because when I had kids in Costco, I'm like, I can't wait to get to that stage. And they're like, no. We want to come to your house with all those Pampers and all of those diapers and wet wipes in your cart. So every stage has something beautiful to give that we're missing or wanting.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's one thing that we're going to have at our event is generational stages of wisdom, a panel of women of all ages giving some wisdom that they've learned. Yeah.
As a couple, when you're out and about, if you could put your finger on one thing that is the biggest challenge for couples these days with divorce being so high, and let's take the easy one off the table, Christ-centered. So let's just say that Christ is in your life, and it's a large contributor to your marriage and your life. What would be then, let's call it number 2, the thing that you think sticks out the most?
Well, I think in our world, it's easier than ever to be unfaithful to your spouse. I mean, the temptations to be unfaithful and to have a moral failure are ripe. I mean, I have a computer full of pornography on my phone right here.
Access to.
I have access to a world of sin right here.
Yeah.
And I have access to a world of ex-girlfriends and ex-people that with a text or a DM, I could cross a moral line. And it's so easy to be unfaithful. And so without a strong moral compass, man, it's tough.
Yeah.
So I see that more often than I'd like.
Yeah.
With people.
And it's a guarding of your heart, I would say, of where that's just not a line I'm going to cross.
Right. What do you say to that couple who have lost the motivation? Because motivation is a big part of that. I don't want to have to tell my wife X this thing, but then they get to the point where like, I kind of don't care anymore. What do you say to that couple?
You mean as for just complacency in general?
Yeah, complacency. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, if God has called them to marriage, then I would say that's a calling to preserve that and continue that, not only for themselves, but for their family and their kids.
Right. Right.
Here's, we had a sermon on Sunday about this topic, and in James 1, it was on James 1, and it talks about the four steps of a lot of things, but moral failure could be one of them. And we're all tempted. Everyone's tempted.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being tempted. But when you act upon that temptation, right, now it moves to the next step, which is desire. Okay, that's step 2. This was from Adam Weber at Embrace Church. It was a great sermon. Once you act on desire, then it's sin. Then you've moved to sin. And once sin is full grown, it gives way to death. Those are the 4 steps. So you can't get past that first step, temptation. You let yourself get past that, your marriage is in big trouble. So you have to guard yourself from temptation, i.e. having screen time on all your apps, i.e. never even downloading certain apps. Twitter is an app to me that there's a lot of crap on Twitter. I delete it from my phone because I'm like, there's a lot of content on there that I just don't need to see. So we got rid of it. And so you got to just guard your heart, guard your eyes, guard your mind.
And just like everything, it starts with something little, you can justify just about anything because it's so minor.
Yeah.
But I guess guard your...
Years ago, remember you saying this, Heather? I said, I can't guarantee I don't, do something that's really, really, hurtful to you. And you went,
I think I said something like, you'll never cheat on me, right? And he's like, I can't guarantee that. And I was like,
and she said, well, I can guarantee it.
I said, then he goes, yeah, good.
Yeah, for me, it was just a heart posture. I'm not going to walk in the room and go, this is impossible, because it is, right? And if I take my...
Possible for all of us.
Yeah.
All of anybody.
Yeah.
If I take my guard down, that's what is most likely to happen.
Sure.
And so that was my way of keeping my guard up.
Sure.
As in,
Valid.
this is possible, so let's not take this off the table, and let's make sure that we keep those healthy boundaries in life.
Yeah. I love that he said that to me. So like, wow, Amos always has such beautiful perspective that I may not have thought through.
Thanks, Ed. One of the things that we've talked about in our marriage is how much influence and how much, I call it power, over me, just because I've given her my heart, and she's the one that knows how to make open the barn doors, right, to my heart, and easily, intentionally, oftentimes that she can shut them, And it's you mentioned earlier, the sigh, right? As the kind of opinions coming out, and the next barn goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you two experienced that? I mean, is that a good analogy for things you've gone through? And have you, what do you say to the woman who is critical of her husband because he's not stepping up as a leader?
You mean like breaking someone's spirit? Is that kind of where you're going? Or
what their best intention, but not really knowing what the consequences that are coming out of that. Trying to get them to step up as a leader.
I think the male ego is a very fragile thing.
Yeah.
What are you laughing, Bon? It is.
I know.
So I think the way you approach a man, when they, if you're a wife and you don't feel like your husband is leading well at home, leading well in any area of life, criticizing him, I guarantee it won't work.
Nope.
So finding ways to change the posture of his heart without being critical or damaging his ego is really important. So what I would do if I was that woman is say, hey, honey, I saw there's a men's group at this church. You ever thought about going to a men's group? And just throwing it out there, I think it may be good. I've always thought about going to a women's group. Maybe I should join one too. But no, it's not you. It's both of us.
Yeah.
And he's going to learn a lot from that men's group about being a better man because I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I got this book I want you to read. I'm going to read the female version of it. And then let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's not just you, it's me. Let's work on this together. Versus just, hey, here's a book. I think you should read this.
Yeah.
I'm
That's usually
going to Costco.
Yeah. Right.
Well, you're
Leave it on the beds on her side. Yeah. His side.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should read this. That's not the best way, is it? I get the sense that you're very humble about this, and you can see the results of how you talk to Paul, Jill. You just see it, and so that's why I'm digging. Like, what is the things that you say to him that in times of need that he needs to hear?
Yeah. Well, it helps that I know his heart. No matter how, whatever he's struggling with, I do know his heart is in the right place. He just maybe didn't go about something the right way, or maybe didn't think of a different perspective. But I guess that's probably helps the approach when I know, I'm not thinking and, there's ill intent there.
Yeah. Boy, can we relate to that?
He says, often to me because I would come in with a guarded heart just from past trauma or abuse that I had gone through. So he's coming at me and it's gonna be an attack. So I armor up versus he started saying, honey, I'm literally your biggest fan. Like I'm your best friend. I'm your biggest,
So good.
your biggest fan.
I'm on your team, man.
And then it just like, I would just melt like putty.
Yeah.
It
It is true though.
soften me.
I mean, even though we've been married we still want to impress each other. I mean, we're still trying to
Yeah.
want each other's love. So yeah, I think that's important to say, I'm still on your team.
Yep. We're in this together. Like,
Yeah.
and you always say, I got you.
You have to tell, like, Jill, I'm always telling her how proud I am of her. I'm just so proud of you. And she tells me that when she says, I'm proud of you, like you told me that yesterday.
Hmm.
We had a big day yesterday. She said, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, oh man, to hear that from your wife, it just means a lot. And you would think after 26 years, like,
Right. It would be like, oh,
redundant.
yeah.
whatever. But I'm like, man, I remembered it,
Yeah.
So why don't you say that more?
I mean, I like to be impactful when I say it. When I say it, I really mean it.
Hang it. Pull it out.
Well, yeah. So with that, like, what do you both do to keep each other's keeping it fresh? Like, how do you guys keep it fresh?
Yeah. Well, and what's also important, I think, is just to know how each person feels love.
I have the love languages.
Yes. I think that is so spot on,
Mhm.
of how somebody feels, and how I might feel love could be totally different than how he does. And you can see that's why, how someone can just be so frustrated because they're like, I'm giving them love and they're not feeling it.
Yeah.
And it's because it's not the same.
No. So you guys you read the love languages book?
Yes.
Okay. What are yours?
All of them. Mine's all of them.
Paul's needy in general.
Gosh, this is so good.
I do like all of them.
Yeah.
And
Acts of service, gifts, like give me that.
acts of service is pretty high from what I can tell. I would know.
You know what I mean.
No, you stop. I just
do know what you mean.
even just acts of cleaning the kitchen. I mean, which to me that does not speak love to me at all.
So do I.
To me, that means nothing. Or gifts, nothing.
Nothing.
And really, I remember even going through that thing like, which one of these do I feel love? That's kind of just like
A good,
Physical touch.
no.
a good interrupted.
Yeah, that too. But if I was going to say one, I would say probably words of affirmation is probably mine. But I don't need pats on the back a lot either. So I don't know what I am.
You heard of
but-
dialects? So there's another book out. Is it another book? But there's dialects to the 5.
Each one of them.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Yeah, we just learned this recently. There's
At Tom Henderson's date night.
26 dialects or something like that.
What's the guy's name?
Yeah.
He's
So there's a new
fine.
test out.
Missouri.
Cutting it.
Ted Cunningham shared that with us.
Right.
They actually studied all the dialects. And you may think it's physical touch. And it's actually, there's 7 other dialects in there that of what it
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm excited
Well,
to take that.
it's impactful with your kids too.
It is so impactful.
I mean, I have a teenage version of that too, and it's just like, yeah.
So just one more question here. And when you think about love languages, what is something that beyond the I'm proud of you or just sharing, like what is something that Paul does for you that just you're like, oh, just like your shoulders just drop?
Probably anything to do with our kids.
Okay.
If I feel, and this is always fascinating to me. And sometimes I'll just look at him and I'll think, somebody else, he loves my kids as much as I do. That's just so, I like, wow. That is crazy. That I can hardly even comprehend it. And then, so when I see him act on that, that's to me,
Mm. When he's being dad.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Spot on.
Oh, well,
Cool.
that's actually an incredible segue.
Okay.
So make sure you join us for this next episode because we are going to be calling in one of the children. So thank you, Jill, and thank you, Paul,
Yeah,
for this
you bet, guys.
this segment. We're going to bring in Nora.
Heaven help us.
This episode is sponsored by Fortitude Ministries. Thank you to those ministry partners who help make this possible.